Democratic Party, PDP, has stated the war against the party's national secretary. Well, Senator Samuel Anyanwu may incapacitate the party ahead of the 2027 general election. The group PDP frontliners warned that instead of preparations for the 2027, energies and resources were being dissipated for needless in-house war, alleging that there were plans by pro-coalition elements to worsen crisis before exiting party. The PDP frontliners, the elements planning for coalition are currently polluting the party by misinforming public about the Supreme Court's judgment that effectively reinstated Senator Samuel Anyanwu as PDP National Secretary. President of PDP frontliners Alhaji Hussein Mohammed, Secretary Moses Abidemi, and Publicity Secretary Dan Okafor, in a statement made available to newsmen on Monday, emphasized that Friday's Apex Court judgment was a clear invalidation of judgment of the lower courts. They said the judgment being used as an excuse to prop up Honorable Sunday Ude Okoye as a claimant to Senator Anyawu's position as misinformation to cause further confusion. Well, according to them, Senator Samuel Anyanwu has never left PDP for another political party since 1999. They claim that the Supreme Court in Appeal number SCCV 18/2025, Senator Samuel Anyanwu versus Anyanwu Emmanuel has effectively set aside the majority decision of the Court of Appeal and affirmed the dissenting judgment of Honorable Justice Ekanem GCA. The Supreme Court held that the issue for determination in the matter filed by Anyanwu Emmanuel at the Enugu State High Court touched and concerned leadership position in the People's Democratic Party, the position of National Secretary of the state political party, and therefore that the issue of leadership being an internal affair of the PDP, the Enugu State High Court and the Court of Appeal lacked jurisdiction to entertain the suit. Just when we thought that the PDP National Secretary issue has been resolved, here is we having more stories as regards to this. I mean, the PDP frontliners, which are being referred to as pressure group within the PDP, are warning that internal conflicts targeting National Secretary Senator Samuel Anyanwu could weaken the party ahead of 2027 elections. Well, we had this story on Friday when the Supreme Court, gave the ruling as regards to the National Secretary and gave the National Secretary position to Samuel Anyanwu. And now we are having the same issues coming up again this week. Let me get your reaction now as regards to that quickly.
In fact, that Supreme Court judgment, I don't really know the kind of technicalities that were being used.
Okay.
On one hand, you give power, or let me say, a kind of somehow an affirmation of Samuel Anyanwu being the
National
Secretary. On the other hand, you are saying that the party, has a jurisdiction over party affairs. When it has to do with internal party affairs, that the party itself has power, to take a decision on what transpires internally. So I don't know the kind of confusion that this judgment, because it has been subjected to different interpretation. Some are saying that by the virtue of that particular judgment, what the PDP decides in terms of its internal conflict resolution mechanism is supreme. That is it on one side. And if we are to go by that, then PDP has spoken. Anyanwu is no longer. Anyanwu contested. And while he was contesting, I am very much sure that definitely he resigned to contest for the governor of Imo State. And after which, the position is still being reserved for him. I mean, I don't really know where that kind of a system operates, if not the situation we are finding ourselves in Nigeria.
Well, then, but the Supreme Court, just on Friday, affirmed his position.
That's what I'm saying. They affirmed his position on one side, and on the other side, the internal conflict resolution mechanism power lies with the party.
PDP.
Yes, the party itself. So, which means if it lies with the party itself, what we should be asking that, what did the party say? Or what is the party saying? Or what has the party said? So, if you have affirmed that the party has the power of internal mechanism for conflict resolution, that is handling its internal affairs. Right. It's not a matter of court. So, which means ordinarily the matter shouldn't have even gone to court. So if you ordinary, the matter shouldn't have gone to court like what the lower courts, verdicts were. Okay. Then what it means is that the PDP National Working Committee, based on their internal mechanism, should take their decision. And if the decision is that Anyanwu, you are no longer, the person is now old, then it should be respected.
Well, let's take a look at how this might incapacitate the party. Well, how significant is the role of the National Secretary in preparing for the election come 2027 in PDP?
Secretary is an important position in any organization. And then we are talking about party leadership that is in conflict. A house that is not in order. Okay? How will you be able to fight? How will you be able to overcome? How will you be able to even contest? Because what these things are pointing down at now is that if it is not resolved, just like some cases that affected the Rivers State, that Rivers State couldn't produce, APC couldn't produce a governorship candidate. You remember? Right. Because of all these particular issues. So if PDP does not act, and that is what it may lead into. And that's why I felt that some persons within the party are beginning to see it. That if this issue continues to linger and is not being resolved within specific time frame, what it will imply is that PDP may not be legit to produce candidates that will run for national position. And we are beginning to see some kinds of calling for merger, calling for coalition.
All right.
So that's what is pointing towards.
And it's not even pointing a good image again.
No, it's no longer. No, it's not.
What impacts could the ongoing internal conflicts in PDP, have on the ability to challenge the APC come 2027?
It cannot anymore. That's the incapacitation now we are talking about, and that's why you see some of the leaders are now talking about coalition.
Okay.
So we don't know whether that coalition is that other party will merge into PDP, or some of them will pull out and then bring up a new name. I read on social media that I think I saw something TNN, approaching INEC for registration. Nobody understands. So they are beginning to look at that in the event where PDP within specific time frame that this conflict should have been resolved, and then preparing for the general election. If they should miss this particular opportunity, what then is the available opportunity left for them? Is this coalition? And that is what I'm seeing, that at the end may happen.
All right.
It may happen.
Well, could this infighting push PDP, members towards joining the emerging coalition? Because
of course, who is the leaders? Who are the leaders of this coalition? You see, Atiku is there. Atiku is of which party? Do you think that it's only just Atiku from the PDP? There are no other persons? You have heard some persons too who have moved to SDP. So when you look at, I think the last time they held a meeting, you see the personalities that were being involved, drawn from some other parties, including some members who I think are still members of APC, like one of the former governors of this particular state. So the conflict is whether it is being planned to weaken PDP, drag PDP towards the election, so that at the end, so people are beginning to think of the alternative. And the